Let the record reflect we have reconvened with all members present. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a motion for the executive minutes of September 12, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
A motion for the regular minutes of September 12, 2016.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome all. We have some pressure. People want to get home to their TVs by 9 o'clock, so we have to give everything its due attention, so please bear with us. I want to start with my usual greetings with thanking Ben for covering the last meeting. I was called out on business, and so could not be here. That happens once in a while when you have a paying job. And our next meeting is a reminder because of the Columbus holiday. Normally we move it to the Wednesday after Columbus Day, but that is a Jewish holiday, so we'll be meeting on Thursday, October 13th. And the electric rate discussion will be on the agenda for Monday, October 24th, so the second meeting in October, because we will have all the council members and mayor present at that time. Just a quick little library report before I come down and do some proclamations. This past summer was a busy time for the library. We worked with the Senior Center in sponsoring popular summer seminar series, which attracted over 700 people. The children's summer reading program under the theme On Your Mark, Get Set, Read saw 626 children who read 384,570 minutes. And the department also featured many programs of interest to children of all ages, including teen and adult summer reading programs. And all this was covered by the Friends of the Library. An update on their building reservations. Final work in the picture book room will be completed in the coming weeks, and new furniture will be arriving for the lobby. And for those local history enthusiasts, the Madison Eagle has now been digitized from the beginning of publication through 2001 and is available on 2 computers in the library. This past Sunday, week ago Sunday rather, the First Baptist Church celebrated the 120th anniversary. I won't read the full proclamation. This was presented at the service, but a couple of things in their history. First Baptist Church, which is now located on Cook Avenue, was originated in 1895 when a small group of baptized believers met in Oddfellows Hall on Central Avenue for organizing a Baptist mission. And in 1897, the Baptist mission was organized as the First Baptist Church of Madison with R.L. Harris as its first pastor. As a larger place of worship was needed for the growing membership, they had their groundbreaking ceremony in June 1901 and the completion of the church in 1902, and that is where they are today on Cook Avenue. And now, under leadership of Craig Dunn, who had the honor of starting his position as senior pastor at Cora Jiggett's 108th birthday celebrations. That was a nice way for him to start as he celebrated Cora's 108th birthday. And he is now leading the church in its outreach ministry, working with the greater Madison community and local colleges. So we extended well wishes on their 120th anniversary. It works. Dean Christopher Taylor, please come up. Doug West from Shakespeare Theater, please come up. October is going to be a very special month for Drew University, Shakespeare Theater, and Madison. And here is a proclamation declaring the month of Shakespeare at Drew University for October 20, 2016. Whereas First Folio is a first edition containing 36 plays written by William Shakespeare, published as a single collection in 1623. And whereas First Folio is considered to be one of the most valuable books printed in the English language, which only 233 copies, the original 800 printed, are known to exist. And whereas to mark the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's death, the National Traveling Exhibition First Folio, the book that gave us Shakespeare, will be exhibited at only one site in each of the 50 states, District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. And whereas Drew University is extremely honored to have been selected as the sole exhibitor in the state of New Jersey and was chosen because of its renowned theater program, the wealth of Shakespeare courses, and the association with the Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey, based on its campus. And whereas the Folger Shakespeare Library in Washington, D.C. owns the world's largest single collection of the book and is lending 18 of the 82 copies to the tour, whereas an original copy of the First Folio will be displayed at Drew University in the Wendell Room in Mead Hall from October 6th through October 30th, and will be open to the famous line from Hamlet, "To be or not to be." And whereas in addition to the exhibit that will open Tuesdays through Fridays, 4 to 8 p.m., and weekends 12 to 8 p.m., seminars and lectures hosted by Drew University experts will be available to students and the public. Whereas, partnering with Drew University in the October exhibit, the Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey will feature performances of Richard III on its main stage at the F.M. Kirby Shakespeare Theater on the campus of Drew. And whereas performances of Hamlet by Drew University's nationally ranked Department of Theater and Dance will be staged in the Thomas Kane Theater during the exhibit. Now, therefore, I, Robert H. Conley, the Mayor of the Borough of Madison, on behalf of the governing body, hereby proclaim October 2016 as the month of Shakespeare at Drew University and invite the community to visit this prestigious exhibit and related events. Congratulations on making this happen. There we go.
Thanks, Mayor Connolly and members of the council. And this is a very exciting event. It's been in the works for a couple of years here. And we think it's, again, another wonderful opportunity for town gown celebration in Madison. We anticipate that it's going to bring hundreds, if not thousands, of people to visit Madison and the university to see what's probably one of the most famous books in the English language. We're very grateful for this proclamation and for the support of the borough for this exciting event.
On behalf of the Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey, we want to thank the borough and everyone for supporting us and for presenting us and Drew University with this proclamation. We're very proud to be a part of the Drew community. We're very proud to be a part of the Madison community. And we hope to see you all at Richard III, Hamlet, and all the various folio events that will happen throughout the month.
Thank you very much. And while we have a small crowd tonight, we do have quite a few that follow us by watching this on the cable and Fios, so the word will be spread. Thank you for coming out tonight. Lisa Sprague, please come up. Second proclamation is World Mental Health Day. And I've been here very often doing proclamations on various cancers, leukemia, heart disease, and I think very quickly people start talking about friends or family that have been touched by those diseases, and then when you start talking about mental health, it often goes silent. And we need to change that approach, that mental health is a disease that should not be put in the back closet, that needs treatment and needs awareness. So it's an honor to present this proclamation. Whereas World Mental Health Day is observed on October 10th each year to raise awareness of mental health issues around the world and mobilize the efforts in support of mental health. And whereas first celebrated in 1992, World Mental Health Day provides an opportunity for those working on mental health issues to discuss their work as well as recognize what more needs to be done to make mental health care a reality for people worldwide. And whereas it is important to maintain mental health and learn the symptoms of mental health illness in order to get help when it is needed. And whereas every citizen and community can make a difference in helping end the silence and stigma that for too long has surrounded mental health illness and discouraged people from getting help. And whereas public education, civic activities can encourage mental health and help improve the lives of individuals and families affected by mental illness. And whereas the staff of the Madison area YMCA will be wearing green on October 10th in support of World Mental Health Day and invite the members of the YMCA and community to do the same. Now, therefore, I, Robert H. Conley, the Mayor of Borough of Madison, on behalf of the governing body, hereby proclaim October 10th, 2016 as World Mental Health Day in the Borough of Madison to increase public understanding of the importance of mental health. And Lisa Sprague is our relatively new Director of Project Community Pride of the Madison area YMCA. So congratulations.
Thank you. On behalf of the Madison area YMCA, just want to thank all of you in the borough for your continued support in supporting us in our mission to promote awareness and reduce stigma of around mental health. Like stated on October 10th for World Mental Health Day, the YMCA staff will be wearing green and encouraging all community and staff members to wear green as well in support of those suffering who have suffered from mental illness in the past. We also will be sharing mental health facts throughout the week through social media and on our TV screens in the Family Center to support our mission. So again, thank you. We're very grateful for your support.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for coming out. Reports from committees. Utilities, Mr. Wolkowitz.
Thank you, Mayor. There's recently been talk of chromium-6 levels in our water, and there have been a number of questions asked, not surprisingly, about how Madison's water supply looks when it comes to its content of chromium-6. If you're unfamiliar with that chemical, it's the one that was at the core of the Erin Brockovich story. That indeed was the substance that had poisoned the water that in the community that she represented. The standards, I should start by saying that it's a natural substance. So the fact that you find some chromium-6 in water is not surprising. The problem comes when you find a lot of chromium-6 in water, and that usually happens when waste, particularly ash, is not properly disposed, and it leaks into waterways and eventually water supply. The United States Environmental Protection Agency regulates total chromium in drinking water. It has set a maximum containment level of 100 parts per billion. The World Health Organization has a somewhat tighter restriction at 50 parts per billion, and California, which always has its own set of rules, is at 10 parts per billion. Recent testing, and you've heard me talk about the fact that we haven't, in all senses, an ongoing testing of our water. Our water tests out at 1.44 parts per billion. So it's really just a trace relative to what is a dangerous amount. And I'm happy to be able to tell you that. Thank you.
Thank you. Health, Mr. Cananello.
There's no report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Finance and Borough Clerk, Mr. Landrigan.
Okay, I have no report, except I do have a letter written to the borough from the New Jersey Municipal Management Association, and being that we're getting ready to start our budget process, I found this letter quite timely. It's dated September 20th, 2016. As president of the New Jersey Municipal Management Association, I represent managers and administrators throughout the state. Our organization supports and promotes professionalism in municipal management. I would like to congratulate the Borough of Madison's achievement on receiving a AAA credit rating from Standard & Poor's. This is the highest credit rating that a municipality can earn and is a distinction shared by only 60 municipalities throughout the state of New Jersey. It should be noted that, like the Borough of Madison, all of these AAA-rated communities are served by administrators and managers who are members of the NJMMA. To earn this rating, the Borough of Madison has satisfied the strict long-term ratings criteria of Standard & Poor's, among which sound professional management is a key component. The reward of a AAA rating, it not only reflects strong economic conditions and wise financial management, but is a recognition of the professional management of the Borough of Madison and the enlightened leadership provided by you and the Borough Council. Those who lead the Borough of Madison have recognized the value of municipal governance that places a premium on professionalism. In doing so, you have justifiably earned the tangible long-term benefits that accompany this approach. All Borough of Madison taxpayers benefit from past governing bodies and the current mayor and borough council who have taken a long-term approach to fiscal integrity. Both the borough and its residents will save money now and in the future due to the professionalism of the borough staff and elected officials. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for sharing that great letter. Great to hear. Public Safety, Ms. Vitale.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item is the police department is having their first Coffee with a Cop. That's going to be held on October 7th at the Waverly Grill. Everybody knows where that is, I'm sure. So they want you to come out and share your thoughts about what's going on in Madison, and if you have any thoughts about the police department and whatever. So that's starting at 8:30 a.m., so please think about going down. Also, First Responder Appreciation Day will be held on October 16th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The police, fire, and ambulance squad will be conducting demonstrations at their buildings and in the commuter parking lots. Also, Officer Sean McCarthy, who is currently serving in the military overseas, will be recognized with other police officers by the Morris County Clerk, Ann Grassi, on October 6th for his service, and that's at Freeling Heisen Arboretum from 5 to 7. The mayor and myself are going along with Chief Datchison. So that's going to be a nice little recognition for him. Bottle Hill Day is this Saturday on October 1st. The Police Department, Office of Emergency Management, and regional law enforcement agencies and mutual aid communities are working overtime and will have a visible presence this weekend to keep everyone safe. I know that there's been a lot of concern about what's going on in other towns, but rest assured, there's going to be plenty of police presence around. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Community Affairs, Ms. Bailey.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. The Chamber of Commerce is sponsoring fire extinguisher inspections Tuesday, October 4th, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., the corner of Central Avenue and Main Street. $15 per inspection, $10 for chamber members. All merchants and public are welcome. The DDC continues with the farmers market on Thursdays from 2 to 7 p.m. Yes, Saturday is Bottle Hill Day. Please come and join us downtown for our wonderful celebration. From the seniors, senior opinions have been much in demand this summer with the Grata Grant Survey focusing on transportation, housing, communication, health, and community assets and needs. The results will be reviewed to develop achievable and sustainable projects. In July, a Drew student, Samantha Lacey, under the direction of her thesis supervisor, Dr. Patrick Dolan, surveyed activity groups on the topic of financial literacy. The research centers on how lack of financial experience may increase the chances of being a victim of fraud. In September, TransOptions, the nonprofit transportation group, surveyed area seniors to determine shifting transportation needs due to health, family, isolation, transit availability, and costs, and these results will be reviewed by the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority and New Jersey Transit for use in updating a coordinated regional transportation plan. The Friends group of the Madison Senior Center have been busy. The annual electric bill insert funded by the Friends, features statistics and services and activities, as well as an appeal for donations. To date, over $1,500 has been collected, and planning is underway for Bottle Hill Day and October open house for the seniors. New promotional items and posters will be displayed at their tent on Waverly Place. Decorations include stars featuring the many activities offered at the Senior Center. And for those of you who have not discovered the Senior Center, an open house is planned for Saturday, October 22. There'll be tours, demonstrations, refreshments from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Works and Engineering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, from the Engineering Department and Roads, Cifelli & Sons Construction have been working on punch list items for the 2016 road reconstruction work, and a lot of topsoil and seed has been placed today. The same company has started the Prospect Street reconstruction between Woodland Road and Hillside today, and Micropave Inc. has continued crack sealing on Woodland, and Garfield has been completed. Additional roads may be added based on pavement conditions. And third, the proposed Central Ave improvements to curb, sidewalk, and drainage between Fairview and Ridgedale Avenue will be presented at an informal meeting prior to our council meeting on Thursday, October 13th. That meeting will start at 6 p.m. Residents in the area will get notices mailed individually. For sanitary sewers, the North Street Pump Station rebid was successful, and an award is being recommended tonight. That's R280 on our consent agenda. And finally, from the DPW, leaf bags can be picked up on October 10th, and the borough will start leaf pickup on October 24th. And just in case you haven't noticed, we're back to once a week garbage pickup. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Communications and petitions.
Yes, Mayor. Council received the same letter September 20th from Robert Hoffman, President of the Municipal Management Association, recognizing Madison's AAA rating.
All right, we're on the first of two invitations for discussion from the public. This one is limited to items on the agenda, and those are items under the agenda discussions, and resolutions are listed. Any ordinances will have hearings, you'll have a chance to comment on that, or anything else you want to comment will come up under item 14. Today's agenda discussion is Museum Early Trades and Crafts Building Project. So anyone wishing to comment on that agenda item or any resolutions, please step forward. Seeing none, I close this part of the meeting and we move on to the Museum of Early Trades and Crafts Building Project. We have Deb Starker, the director.
Thank you. Good evening. I think my main purpose here tonight is just to update everyone on the project and on some revisions that are actually going to be made on the project because of some decreased funding from the county. I sent a letter to Borough Administrator Cody several weeks ago, just kind of outlining this. As most of you probably know, the county has severely cut many of the historic preservation projects. So our original grant proposal was cut by 50%. So obviously that's going to impact the project. So we sat down with Ray Cody, Ray Chang from the Morris County Planning and our architect. And we kind of looked at what we could do and what we could not do. So there were two main projects in the proposal and then a couple of smaller ones. So the plan is to go with one of the main projects, which is the finial restoration. You know, the finials have already been taken down, so that is in the project. And then instead of doing the repointing, the raking out and the repointing of the facades, which is expensive, time-consuming, we thought it would be probably prudent to do a repair of the walkway that leads from the sidewalk to the accessible entrance of the museum. This is in the scope of the project. If you need to get in there with a wheelchair or pushing a stroller, it's really difficult because the sidewalk is cracked. I don't know when the last time it was repaired. So those two are in the project, and we would do probably use about a tiny portion of the grant funding that we got from the open space. So in essence, we would really limit the scope of the project. Any money that we didn't use from the county could be banked and we can use next year for a larger project, and we would only be using a very small portion of what the open space funding, and probably return to the borough a good portion of that open space funding. The other thing we would do with some of that money is have our architect do some plans. We had spoken about this a while ago, about a long-term plan for the building, and once she completed that, we could sit down, the council and the museum staff or board, and look at the long-term planning for this project and see where we can go from this. So I think it's still using all of the resources that we have. And we would also, instead of having the owner's representative fee come from the borough's funding, we would pick that up. The museum itself would pick that fee up. So we'll take care of that. And it'll probably come down to using just a portion of all of the funding that we received or that we'll be using. So I know there's a lot of information there. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Just two quick ones. The last time we met, you had outlined that there is a long-term schedule. Will we be getting more information on that at some point? Because
Yes,
I know that's been in flux.
Yes. That we do have a schedule. I think that was given to you a while ago, and I think we gave you another copy of that. So what we'll do on top of that is have our architect actually outline, really flesh that out and talk about it in terms of what really needs to be done and when.
All right.
And I think that was one of the questions that this body had going forward, is that they weren't sure what was going to happen when.
And then my other quick one is this. I know when we last had a presentation, there were pictures of the condition of the roof, where water was getting in and the condition of that roof. Has that been addressed yet? Or is that going to be a project?
That's one of the projects that's going to be addressed, redoing that slate roof, yes.
Okay. And that'll be
That
earlier.
actually was that was in the long-term plan. I think there was that was in there. So that is still going to be addressed.
Okay.
Ben?
Thank you.
Ben Carmelo?
It would be helpful when we get that report that it also includes estimates for how much each of these projects will cost and how long they'll take.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
That's our intent. Yes.
How long do you think it'll take to prepare that report?
I don't know when I can speak with her. Send her an email tomorrow and find out when she'll start on that. She will be doing all of the work on this project now. But once we get the approval, it shouldn't take her long at all to do that.
Thank you.
Carmelo?
Deborah,
Yes.
I just have a question. What was done so far this past year?
This past year it was the
Finials?
raking and the repointing of the facade, the tower facade, and also the finials were taken down.
Okay. Thank you.
That was this year, and the project before that. So it's been ongoing for about 3 years now.
Thank you.
Pat?
Yeah, so 3 quick numbers, because I'm not sure I'm finding them. Of the $120,000 that the county provided you, how much were you planning to spend right now?
So what we plan to do right now is the finial project will cost us about $35,000. The concrete replacement about $15,000. So that's going to be $50,000. The borough has to match, or we have to get a match of 20% from that, which is where the borough's funding will come from. That's $10,000. And then another $15,000 will be for the documentation and all the negotiation and the bids, which was something that was agreed to by this body when they agreed to the $125,000 initial money. And then part of that money will also be used for the drawings, the estimates for the long-term project going forward.
So that's $50,000 of the county's $120,000 and $25,000 of the $125,000 we
Correct.
gave you?
Correct.
Okay, and then what happens with the balance of the money from the county? You're going to hang on to it till next year?
We can hang, yes. Ray Chang said that we can bank that for next year's project.
Okay, and then the balance of the money that we gave you?
Will be returned to you.
Okay,
That's 100,000.
okay, that's all I needed, thank you.
Yes.
Rob?
Thank you. Will, the fact that we're reserving a large portion of the county's money, does that typically have a negative effect on future grants from the county?
Not from what I understand from Ray Chang. You never know what's going to happen with the county, and you never know how their money is going to be, how they're going to, decide who to give money to next year. But he was pretty confident that we can do that, and that we can have that money and then go and apply for more money next year. So it should not have an impact. But I can't honestly answer that. I don't really know.
Do you anticipate that the severe reduction in grants from the county will be a long-term sort of situation, or do you think it's a one-off?
I don't know. I'm really not sure. They have been really wonderful in funding us all along, and I think that a number of organizations have seen. It's not just the museum. I know that the borough also saw their proposal was, I think, 50% of what was asked for, and many other organizations were reduced, and some organizations were given more money. So we are trying to actually talk to some of the people and find out exactly what the issue is. But I'm hoping that next year they'll kind of rethink this project.
So since the initial plan was to get a 4-to-1 match from the county on the money provided by the borough, and it's coming in this year closer to 1-to-1, are you considering any alternative funding sources for this project?
Well, as a historic building, I think that the county is probably one of the better sources for money. But there are also 1772 Foundation, and there are a number of other foundations that actually do fund these kinds of capital projects. And we were talking to our architect, and so we're going to look at some of those other things as well. And as I said, the museum itself is picking up. We've decided that all of the owner's fees are going to be carried by the museum, which was not originally in the proposal.
And do you anticipate that these other venues for funding can make up what the county, get us back to that 4-to-1 ratio that was pitched to us 3 years ago?
I would hope so. I don't really have an answer for you at this point. Grants, I don't know if anyone writes grants. It's really almost like going to Las Vegas. So, I wish... Not kidding. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but you just never know, where they're going to look and determine where the funding wants to go to. And it's hard.
But the main problem being the water egress, I guess, into the building and the foundation. If we were to experience several years of this sort of funding gap, what are the contingency plans to fix really what the primary, and I may be wrong, and please correct me if I am, but as I understood, the primary risk to the building was the water. So what will we do?
Well, that's correct, and and much of that has already been addressed. And I think that that's really the key thing: is we really have made sure that those areas that really were most at risk have been addressed. All of the other issues, now the finials obviously are down, so they have to be put up, and they were actually cracked when we took them down, so that was a safety hazard. And I think the next big item is the roof. I think that is probably the next thing. I think the other things about the water ingress, that probably has been at least addressed to the point where it won't be a major issue.
And you'll include an estimate on the roof for us?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a nice roof.
Yeah.
I've replaced slate roofs. They're not cheap. And that's not even slate, right?
I know. It's so, I think it's something that we should, really take a really hard look at what it is going to be down the line and come back to you all and sit down and work out a plan.
And I would ask that you would include alternate funding sources
Sure.
as opposed to just the county, considering it seems the way it's going.
Okay, absolutely.
We recently did have a meeting with two freeholders, just sharing some of our concern about the funding cuts for Hartley Dodge and the museum. And they suggested some steps we can take to make sure we have our applications get the most powerful recognition possible. And so we'll pursue those angles too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the update. Anything else? Okay. There are no ordinances for hearing, so we're now on to the second invitation for discussion with the public. This is when you may comment on anything. You step forward, state your name, your address, write the same on the clipboard, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Anyone wishing to be heard? Seeing none, I close this part of the meeting. Introduction of ordinance. Will the clerk please read the statement?
Yes, the ordinance is scheduled for hearing. Have a hearing date set for October the 13th, 2016. Both will be published in the Madison Eagle, posted on the bulletin board, and made available to members of the public requesting copies.
I call up ordinance 60-2016 for first reading and ask the Borough Clerk to read said ordinance by title.
Ordinance 60, 2016, ordinance of the Borough of Madison amending Chapter 34 of the Borough Code to create the position of police chaplain for the Madison Police Department.
Mayor, I move ordinance 60-2016.
Second.
Any council discussion? Roll call vote. Yeah.
How are we going to choose the chaplain? Or how will the police department choose the chaplain?
They have set, yep, and there's a training program they need to go through, so he's sent out invitations and.
He'll be at the next meeting. This is adopted. He has 4 chaplains.
Okay, so, yep, so it would be confirmed by the council.
And will the chaplain receive a stipend, or is it voluntary?
No, it's all.
No compensation.
Just like us.
No compensation.
Just
Just like
ask.
yourselves.
That's right.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Catalanello?
Yes.
Mr. Landrigan?
Yes.
Mrs. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Rowe?
Yes.
Ordinance 61, 2006, ordinance of the Borough of Madison, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter A238 entitled Madison Chatham Joint Meeting. At your
I'll move ordinance 61-2016.
Second.
Any council discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Catalanello?
Yes.
Mr. Landrigan?
Yes.
Mrs. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Rowe?
Yes.
Consent agenda resolutions. Will the clerk please read the statement?
Consent agenda resolutions will be enacted with a single motion. Any resolution requiring expenditure is supported by a certification of availability of funds. Any resolution requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All resolutions will be reflected in full in the minutes.
I move resolutions 270 through 273, and then 276 through 282.
I second.
Any that need to be pulled or any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Catalanello?
Yes.
Mr. Landrigan?
Yes.
Mrs. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Rowe?
Yes.
There is no unfinished business. Approval of vouchers.
Public safety, $11,563.22. Health and public assistance, $6,035.81. Public works and engineering, $193,057.84. Community affairs, $5,083.31. Finance and borough clerk, $3,609,795.52. And utilities, $875,998.81. Total is $4,701,134.51.
Mr. Mayor, I move the vouchers.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Catalanello?
Yes.
Mr. Landrigan?
Yes.
Mrs. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Yes.
There is no new business.
And with that, we keep on record intact. I move we close. Adjourn, leave, go home.
Thank you.
Minutes after your request.
I know. Thank you, Mayor.
I'll go home.
John is stuck in the fire.
Can you go and get him?
Well, there's a fire and.
When is she going to ride today? Another Jersey Transit?
Yeah, they
Will you be in the morning, or would you like to?